This is definitely one of my trigger points. You don't see a lot of technique-based content for Airsoft because most guys don't know what they're doing. So there's usually, when someone releases a training video, there's two kinds. There's either a video where someone filmed them training, which isn't really a training video, and there's what I would consider to be a training video, which is an instructional video. So you training is just kind of you trying to show off. You teaching is a training video to me. So it kind of depends on what your definition of a training video is. For me, it needs to be an instructional video. When we break down the types of instructional videos that are out there, there's usually three kinds. There is a competition specific one. So like dudes talking about like speed QB stuff or jungle ball techniques or what they do off of break or lanes or stuff like that. That's legit. That's perfect. And I'll listen to anyone talk about that. Then there is the realism, the CQB aspect, which is where it gets a little bit dicey. You don't see a lot of dudes doing like instructional CQB videos because they don't know what they're doing. Most of those guys are dancers basically, or they're theorists. They see stuff and they regurgitate it in their own environment, and you just believe them because they got stuff on. They got, oh, it's Cry 3.0, it's got Cry Precision Plate Key, because you don't know any better either. And I know you don't know any better because you're looking up the videos. So even though there's two kinds of CQB style stuff. There's dudes that are trying to do like defense drills, like that are trying to do actual real live drills with airsoft guns. And then there's dudes that are trying to do like airsoft CQB stuff. This is fine. This is like, hey, we're part of this MilSim team. We're gonna teach you how to be a better MilSim airsoft player. I'm good with that. But it's this side over here that gets a little cringy. You will have dudes that clearly have no experience professionally, no experience in the industry, trying to teach something that they think they understand. Most guys aren't gonna really see the signs to recognize like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. Because the number one CQB style that you will see taught is the old school OIF1, slow, everyone gets in a single file stack and everyone goes super slow. And it's the same thing. It's the one man, the two, ready up, the breach, and all this other stuff. Well, that's cool if you understand that that model only fits a specific environment. You can't go on a general field and usually do that. You can't really do like a 3-man slow stack into a room because you're in a constant threat environment. So unless you've got like a whole platoon of dudes that have set site security already and then you send your entry team in, go to that. God bless you, know what you're doing. I see little MilSim kids come to all kinds of fields try and do that stuff and they get lit up. A, because they don't know what they're doing. B, because they don't understand that they're not applying the right technique in the right environment. C, A and B. The slow style technique has been taught as a foundation for decades. It is probably I will say in my experience, it's probably the foundation of American CQB. But we've evolved from that one tactic. So like if you see a lot of my stuff, I don't do that. I've never had guys stack on me in an airsoft game because there's just too much going on. Because the environment is not controlled before, during, and after a stack. So you can't use that one piece effectively unless you're using it against an opponent that has no idea what they're doing, but you could have probably walked in there and shot them all in the face and it would have had the same effect. In order for that slow style to be effective, there are things that need to happen beforehand. Plus, at most airsoft fields, you don't have buildings that are that big. They're maybe half the size of a normal bedroom. Some fields might actually have a decent CQB setup. Like if you go to CQB City in Stockton, they have a pretty good like room style, residential style setup, but it's also because they have like actual cops come in and train there. Elk Grove PD's been there. I think Brentwood PD's been there. A lot of local guys go. But if you're at like an outdoor field, hey, the structures are basically tough sheds. And I've seen these kids try and stack up, do like a 3-dude stack on a building that was a little bit bigger than a tough shed. And they knew it was that size. They knew they just wanted to do that thing because they've been practicing it. Fine, but part of doing that is knowing when that tool is and is not effective. Don't see a lot of guys teaching like the Israeli style limited penetration, which is similar to kind of what I do, which is at its core, it's clearing the space as much as possible before entering it. Basically, it's kind of like pieing off a room before you go in. If you've had any of my airsoft fight classes, that's basically the foundation of what I teach, is a Israeli-inspired technique. But a lot of guys don't know the difference between American-style and Israeli-style CQB because they're not in the game, because they didn't devote their life to it. They put on camouflage, they type in some stuff, they watch the Green Mountain Rangers, and they go, I want to do that, I want to look that cool, I want my Instagram to have all these things. Bro, some of these Instagrams I'm seeing, these kids, all they do is they just get together, they gear up, they put all their cool stuff on, and they just, let's just keep this G-rated, let's just say they stroke each other's ego and their own. They put up the little glass house drills, the little cones, they set up some little targets, and it looks abysmal in its execution. And then these kids will come to my field and get wrecked. I know you've seen it. I've seen it. Plenty of guys have seen it. Because they don't know what they're doing. In order for you to instruct and teach something, you have to have an expert level knowledge base of what you're teaching. There's a reason why in order to be a college professor you have to have, what is it, at least a master's degree? But if a kid has a GoPro and a loadout that looks cool, and if he can replicate a bunch of drills that he saw on like Magpul's dynamic rifle video, it's gonna get hits. That's why a lot of kids are doing this. That's why you see so many of these horrible players putting out this content, because they want to grow their brand, because they want views. Doesn't matter that they don't know what they're doing. Doesn't matter that the gap in between the first and the second man, you could drive a truck through. Doesn't matter, because no one knows what to look at. You don't know what you're looking at. How do you know if you're watching a high-level boxing match or if you're just watching two dudes just like windmill attack each other? The average person doesn't know the difference. The average person doesn't understand the importance of foot positioning and head movement and timing. The average person doesn't understand these things. They just watch. They're just a spectator. Airsoft training is kind of the same thing. I think that's it. Bye.
Caber, who the f*** are you, nerd?